Jai Hind. Okay students, today we will start with the excretion in the life process. You know that it is also a very important life process. One living organism has to be alive. Okay, so that's why we will study about the excretion today. You know what is excretion? So excretion is nothing but simply getting rid of the waste material which are produced in our body by the metabolic activity. For example, in the respiration process we will throw out a poisonous gas, that is carbon dioxide, through the lungs to the atmosphere. Okay, like that, even excess of water we will throw out with the or through the skin as a sweat. Okay, like that, even so many nitrogenous wastes which are produced in the human body and in the living organisms, that. So that the living organisms will throw it out, and that process is called as excretion. Especially the nitrogenous wastes thrown out by the organisms is called as excretion. In the nitrogenous wastes, there are three types of nitrogenous waste we can find. For example, in the amoeba, if you see, in the amoeba the nitrogenous waste is ammonia. Okay, and hence the amoeba is called as aminotelic organism. That means it simply throw out the nitrogenous waste in the form of ammonia. Okay, and in the earthworm, if you take, there also the ammonia is the waste material. Okay, aminotelic organism, we call those organisms are the aminotelic organism. And in birds, you see, birds will throw out the nitrogenous waste in the form of uric acid. That's why birds are called uricotelic organisms. Uricotelic organisms. And we people, that means mammals, human and totally mammals, will throw out the nitrogenous waste in the form of urea. Okay, that's why we are ureotelic organism. Okay, right. Then see here, ureotelic organism are having a special organ system to throw out the waste material, that is urea. Then where actually the urea is going to form in the body? Excess of protein in the metabolic activity moves to the liver. There the nitrogenous waste and excess of protein is converted into urea. Understood? So you know that liver is a chemical factory of our body. So there most of the toxic substances are detoxified. Okay, and especially these waste materials are prepares there itself only to get rid of the body. Okay, all right. So in the human being, how actually the urea or this excretory product will be thrown out by the body, that we will see by a special organ system, that is excretory system. Okay, so our excretory system is having a pair of kidney. See here, their shape is like this. Okay, right kidney is slightly below because there is a liver which is the biggest internal gland situated on this side. So that's why the right kidney is slightly downwards little bit, and the kidney is having two glands over them. Okay, the kidneys are having two glands over them. Those are adrenaline gland. Okay, so these glands will not participate in the secretion of or preparation of urine. Simply just remember, suprarenal gland or adrenaline gland, we call these glands. Okay, then this part, the outer part of the kidney is called as cortex. Okay, inner part of this part is called as medulla, And here one more, a pit like structures you can see here, a cup like structure, that is called as hilum. Okay, hilum. So you can see here, I will take a red color chalk piece, and I want to show you how the renal arteries. So these are the renal arteries, means what? The blood is coming from the heart. That means these arteries are carrying the blood from the heart. That means oxygenated blood, as you are guessing, that is right. This is a oxygenated blood. Very good. So like this, the renal art brings the renal arteries. Okay. So renal arteries bring the blood to the kidney. Kidney is a main filtering organ of a body. So even in the kidney, the structural and functional unit of kidneys are also there. We will discuss about that after this. Okay, right. And from the kidney, see, from the kidney, a blood vessel is moving to the yes, heart. Very good. So this is called as renal vein. Okay, then next, from the same hilum part, there are two more ducts or pipes originates, those carries the urine which prepares in the kidney itself. Okay, right. This is the ureter. Okay, these two are the ureter, which brings the urine to the urinary bags. Okay, urine to the urinary bags. So this is a right kidney. I can call it as a right kidney. This is a left kidney, and these are ureter. Okay, ureter, and this is urinary bladder. And here I will show you here, there is a muscle which controls the urination or micturition. We call it as a micturition or urination. That muscle is called as sphincter muscle. Okay, and this part is urethra, through which we will pass the urine. Okay, these are the parts of the kidney, and it will be asked for 2 to 3 marks. Draw a neat labeled diagram of kidney, then you have to draw like this. Okay, very simple diagram. See, 2 kidneys. Okay, so where these are situated exactly, if you see this position, I will show you here. This is our back. Okay, so here you will find a stomach. Okay, so below that, here you will find, this is the vertebral column. Here you will find the kidneys. Okay, you will find the kidneys. Understood? Okay, then what are the structural and functional unit of kidneys, sir? Okay, we will draw that one also. Okay, so the structural and functional unit of kidneys are nephron. In biodiversity, you people have studied that the earthworms will throw out their waste material through the nephridia. Okay, so these nephrons are still even more advanced than those nephridias. Okay, so why? Because we are so evolved and we become so complex as compared to the invertebrates. All right, how actually the nephrons looks, that we will see now. Okay, here I will draw. All right, nephron, structural and functional unit of nephron. This will also asked in the examination so many times. Draw a neat label diagram of nephron. See, we will see the nephron. This cup like structure is called a Bowman capsule. Here it is having so many pores like this, and this continues here, and here it bends like this and goes down. Okay, here I will take this much only, and once again it bends down like this, and from here it will open into the collecting duct. Okay, sir, what is this? This is Bowman's capsule. I will write here Bowman's capsule. Bowman's capsule. Okay, then sir, what is this? This is PCT, proximal convoluted tubule. Then what is this, sir? This is distal convoluted tubule, DCT, and this is the collecting this is the collecting duct. This is the collecting duct. Okay, so now here there are blood vessels flow here, those are capillaries. Okay, so these are the capillaries. You can see here the blood which enters here, the blood vessel which comes to the kidney will enter into the nephron, and simply this renal artery branches out into the capillaries, and we call these are the capillaries only. These are capillaries. So I will write here capillaries. Okay. So especially this part, what you are seeing here, the Bowman's capsule and capillaries together called as, here this will come out like this. Why? Because this is the artery and these are the veins. Okay. So and the small or very thin blood vessels which connects the arteries and veins are capillaries. Okay. So this portion please look, have a look here. This portion is completely called as glomerulus. Glomerulus. Okay, glomerulus, are also called as Malpighian tubule, Malpighian body or tubule. So please do remember this. Okay, right. And this part, see here, the hairpin like structure you can see here. So this part we call this as a Henle's loop. Henle's loop. Okay, Henle's loop. Okay then. So this is what a structure of nephron. This part, the Bowman's capsule or a Malpighian body, plays or lies in the cortex area, whereas this PCT and DCT and this part will lies in the medulla, and this collecting duct opens here to the ureter. So many nephrons like this will come and connect to the collecting ducts, and collecting duct simply collects the urine and passes to the urethra. Okay, passes to the ureter. Okay, right. So like this, urine will come to the urinary bladder. Okay, sir, in each kidney how many nephrons we can find? There are 1.2 millions of nephrons are present in each kidney. Understood? Okay then. So I think you people have understood the structures of these two things, and now we will see how the urine formation is going to take place. Okay, there are 3 steps we can see in the urine formation. First one is glomerulus filtration. Glomerulus filtration. Okay, filtration. So what is mean by glomerulus filtration? We will study it now. So glomerulus, you know, this part is called as glomerulus. Okay, so from the artery, blood is coming with a greater force, and when this artery is branched out into a small capillaries, there even pressure increases. So with a great force, blood enters into the Bowman's capsule, and almost all the, I will show it with a blue color, I think you people can able to see this color also. Is it visible now? Okay, very good. So here almost all the constituents of bloods except the RBC, WBC and platelets, so many things what are there in the blood like glucose, amino acids, proteins, fatty acids, glycerol, vitamins, minerals and urea, water, salt, everything will be filtered out here in this part. So that is called as glomerulus filtration. So what is glomerulus filtration? The artery which brings the blood with a greater force pushes the blood into the capillaries. So capillaries are having a very thin wall, very thin layer. So those will allow the some constituents of blood to pass through them into the Bowman's capsule, and the Bowman's capsule will receive these materials which are filtered in the glomerulus. So this part is called as glomerulus or Malpighian body. Okay, all right. So here you will find a columnar epithelial tissue, that too ciliar columnar epithelial tissue. You will study it in the second PUC and first PUC also. So in the tissues you people have studied it in the 9th standard. Okay, so they will simply push the material like this inside this a tube. Here a tube bends here, coils here, and this is near to the Bowman's capsule, and we call that as a proximal convoluted tubule. Okay, proximal convoluted tubule. So like this a filtered material will come here. So you can see here this veins surrounds this coil like this. Okay, so but it is not shown in the book so that it should not makes you confused. Okay, it is understood that this capillary will surround this nephrons also. Okay, next we will see the second part. What is that? Selective reabsorption. Selective reabsorption. Okay, absorption. Sir, what happens, sir? Almost all the material which are there in the blood, that too which are the materials which are required for the body is also filtered out. Then what happens, sir? What will be the next steps, sir? So that we will see it now, because so many things which are necessary to the body or the cell like glucose, water, minerals, amino acids, fats, proteins, everything are filtered out here. Okay, everything are filtered out, but we want only the urea and excess of water and excess of salt has to be go out, has to be thrown out, has to be filtered out. But here even the necessary things, necessary materials which are required for the body are also filtered out. That's why the second stage will take place, that is selective reabsorption. So selective reabsorption means what? Already the useful things are also have come into the nephron, this tube. So in the tube are surrounded by these type of veins. Then these veins or these blood vessels simply absorbs the useful things like glucose, water, amino acids, fatty acids and vitamins. Like this type of useful things will be once again reabsorbed by the only, not the urea. Okay, please do remember, only such useful things will be reabsorbed by the blood vessels, and that is called as selective reabsorption. And the third one is collection. So what is that? Collection. So the blood is going to, the urine which is formed here is going to collect in this part, in the collecting duct. Okay, so collecting duct will opens into the ureter, and ureter will bring the urine, okay, to the urinary bladder, and it stores there up to the urinary bladder has to fill, and after that it will send a message to the brain, and brain will understand that yes, the bladder is full, then we will go for a urination, and that we call it as a micturition. We call it as a micturition. So many times it was asked in the examination that what is micturition? Simple, the passing of urine is called as urination, and that is also called as micturition. Okay, so very simple it is. Through urethra we will pass it out, and sphincter muscle will control that passing of urine. Okay, right. So I will highlight one more point in this area, because we have mentioned that there is a Henle's loop. Henle's loop. So what is the role of Henle's loop in the urine formation, sir? Yes, I will tell you that. Okay, in the brain you will study it in the control and coordination. Here you will find a very important gland, that is master gland. We call it as a pituitary gland. Pituitary gland is having two lobes, so the front and back lobe. Here there will be a hormone collected which is secreted by the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is also a gland, please do remember. Hypothalamus will secrete some hormones that will be collected in the anterior lobe of the pituitary gland. So here the hormone called ADH will stores here. Okay, so that will be utilized in the Henle's loop. How? I tell you, the Henle's loop will help in the, I will simply rub some parts here so that I can write some more points for you people. So I will rub this. Okay, so Henle's loop especially controls the, or it involves in the osmoregulation. Osmoregulation. Sir, what is this osmoregulation? I will tell you, very simple it is. Osmo means water, see here, water and ions present in the blood. So this Henle's loop will control the water and ion contents in the blood. Okay, so that will be controlled by ADH, that will be informed by the ADH to the Henle's loop, so that Henle's loop will control this osmoregulation. That means, suppose the water molecules are more in the urine and less in the blood, that time simply Henle's loop will re-give the water molecules to the blood. Okay, and if suppose there is a more water present in the blood, then simply the Henle's loop will absorb the excess of water from the blood vessels which are surrounded here. Okay, so like this, even ions also, like this, it controls the osmoregulation. Understood? So that is one very important function of a Henle's loop. So I think you people have understood everything in the human excretion. Okay, so we people are ureotelic. Remember, urea is going to form in the liver. Okay, then. So there are some, why? Because in a competitive exams, in a competitive exams, many times they will ask you the site of urea formation. Understood? Okay. So if you want the diagram to be drawn, you can take it down, pause the video and take it down. Okay. So before I move on to the next one, that is, if the kidney fails, to function, then what will be the next processor? That we will discuss now. So before I move on to that, I simply request you one more time. So many of you are, watching my videos, but you are not subscribing. So I request you, please subscribe my video, so that will boost us, so that we can give more videos which are useful to you. Okay, your subscription is the only strength to us. So share the videos to your friends also. Right, and this especially the biology concept related to the life, and even in your home, so many your family members are there, parents are there, ask them to subscribe my channel. So whenever they will get the free time, let them at least understand some functions. Of course they know so many things, but it will be a refresh for them. Understood? Okay, so I hope you will do that, and even you just inform to your neighbors also, if they are having any SSLC students or upcoming SSLC students, means 9th standard students and all. So ask them to subscribe my channel. Okay, all right. So we will move on to the next concept, that is what happens when kidney fails to function. Okay, all right. Shall I rub this? All right. So the nephrons, when they fail to filter, then ultimately we are going for a dialysis. But before that, now the science is so advanced. Okay, medical science, grown up so advanced that you can transplant the kidney also. You can transplant the kidney. If the donor is there, then you can transplant the kidney. That too, donor's blood group and your blood group should match, and so many technical things, that means a biotechnical things, that the biomolecules, some biomolecules, a blood group it may be, and so many other tests they will do before they transplant the kidney. Okay, you will study it in the degree classes, higher classes. Okay, so if the kidney transplantation takes place, then also if the function will not go proper, the kidney may fail to function, kidney may fail to filter, then there is a one more option, that is dialysis. So dialysis is a process. Suppose a person is there, okay, simply a rough diagram I am showing you, right, and from his hand a impure blood is taken out by the needle, and a pipe is connected to a dialyzing unit. See here, this is the dialyzing unit. I will draw and show you. This is the dialyzing unit. This enters here into the candles. These are the dialyzing candles. Okay, dialyzing candles. Into this dialyzing candles, blood enters, that to the impure blood, that means which is having a waste material, and after that here the filtration takes place. This dialyzing candle will exactly work like a nephron only. Okay, and this, once again this pipe will connected to the body once again, like this the impure blood will go into the dialyzing unit, and pure blood, that is filtered blood, will come back to the, this is taken out by the arteries, and here it will be injected into the veins. Okay, injected into the veins. This is a dialyzing unit. So here we will find a dialyzing solution. What is this? Dialyzing solution. Dialyzing solution. And here a fresh dialyzing solution will be pushed into it, and here the filtered waste material will come out. Okay, and that will be thrown out through this way. Okay, this is the waste material. Like this, a dialysis machine will work. Understood? Okay. So before we move on to the excretion in plants, there are three organs we will find in the excretory system. That is, first one is lungs. Okay, our lungs are also working as an excretory organ. Why, sir? Because they too also throwing out the waste material, the gaseous waste material. You know that, carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide is thrown out by the lungs itself, isn't it? So we can count that one also as a excretory organ. And the skin, see, through skin we will throw out the excess water and some minerals, some salts, so in the form of sweat. That's why even skin is also a excretory organ. But compared to these two excretory organ, kidneys are very important. Why? Because kidneys mainly filters the very poisonous substance which prepares in the body in the metabolic activity, that is urea. Okay, so that is thrown out by the kidneys. That's why we mainly concentrate on kidneys in the excretory system of human being. Got this point? Okay, all right. So next we will move on to the excretion in, so far we have studied excretion in human being. So now we will study excretion in plants. You know, as compared to the human being, plants are doing very less work. They are, you know, moving very less. Of course, their movement is there, that is very slow, and we call that as a trophism. We will study it in the control and coordination also. Okay, right. So the plant's excretory products, if you compare to the human being excretory product, it is very less, comparatively very less, and they will throw out the excretory product through the leaves by shedding the leaves. Okay, so the waste material will be pushed to the leaves, and they shed the leaves. Through that, they will throw out the waste material. And you know that the waste material for the plants is a oxygen, especially in the photosynthesis process. The excess of oxygen will be thrown out through the stomata, isn't it, in the photosynthesis process. And even carbon dioxide is also a gas that will be thrown out by the plants in the night time in the respiration process. Okay, that is also thrown out by the stomata itself only. And in that stem they are having a lenticels. So through those lenticels they will throw out the carbon dioxide. Okay, and you know that the roots are having root hairs. So with those root hairs they will throw out the waste material, and in the leaves the stomatal pore will help in the throwing out the waste gases, and even excess of water. In the transpiration process they will throw out the excess of water. Understood? And there are some resins, gum like structures, they will throw out through the stem only, as a gum only. Okay, as a gum. You might have observed that gum like structures which will throw out. Understood? And even so many wastes they will throw out through the fruits. So leaves, fruits, roots, and in the bark of a tree the lenticels and stomatal pores, right? And there are spine like structures, we call those are the raphides. Okay, so those raphides are the waste materials. That means waste materials are thrown out in the form of raphides. Okay, RAPHIDES, raphides. Like this the excretion in plants takes place. Okay, all right. So the gaseous materials are thrown out by the stomatal pores, lenticels and root hairs, and even water is also thrown out in the form of water vapor from the stomata. Okay, and some solid waste materials are thrown out through the leaves, where the leaves will collect the waste material and they shed, the shedding of leaves. Okay, and the fruits are also throw out the waste material will come to the fruit, and by shedding of fruit also, or the fruit will also take out the waste material. Like this the waste materials in plants is going to excreted out. Okay, right then. So we will meet in the next video. So before that, one more time I will simply remind you, please subscribe my channel if you are liking my video. So press the bell button and press the like button and press the bell button, so that you will get a notification immediately if I upload a one more video. Understood? So I request you one more time, please go through the books and watch the video. We will meet you in the next video. Till then, bye bye. Jai Hind.